All right, everybody. Lucian here with the Bullish Bears. We have Michael with Trade Ideas. Trade Ideas, I'm going to let Michael get into all the in depth. We are pretty much OG partners with Trade Ideas, pretty much from the beginning when we started. We love their scanner. It's got so many different features, but I don't even want to call it just a scanner. I'll let Michael go through it because I'm sure there's a lot of updates and stuff he was talking about too of what it can offer.
Hmm.
But Trade Ideas is primarily what's our favorite within the community. So we have Michael on today. He's going to do a webinar, kind of give us all the ins and the outs of what's going on with Trade Ideas. So welcome, Michael.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the introduction. Thanks for having me. My plan is to keep this interactive. So I've actually just popped out the chat there. So if anyone has any questions along the way of what we got now or what we're planning on doing in the future, certainly let me know. I'll introduce myself first. My name is Michael Noss. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube and TikTok and right wherever someone wants me to talk about the markets. I'm a chartered market technician. I started my trading career all the way back in 2006, and that's actually when I started using trade ideas, in which I used to trade prop. So basically, I would trade other people's money on a prop firm when I was in university. That was a lot of fun. It was very funny to trade all day and then, run to my university classes and be taught things like efficient market hypothesis, which was hilarious. After that, I spent about 10 years working in the hedge fund space, basically doing a lot of this was around the Bernie Madoff time. So basically, what our firm did is we opened up a firm that did kind of independent, hired by the investors as opposed to the hedge fund managers, and we would do accounting and investor relations work, and I would go in and actually speak to the hedge fund managers and traders and say, how do you guys make money, and what is it that could be your risk when it comes to other parts of the client's portfolio and things like that. But a lot of it was, again, it was around the Bernie Madoff time where there was a distinct lack of trust in a lot of the system. So it was a lot of sitting eye to eye with different hedge fund managers and saying, okay, what is it that you do to generate these returns? Which was an amazing experience because I got to see how a lot of the big guys went. And then from there, when that company got sold, I started to work back with Trade Ideas here. So I've been consulting with them now for I think over 5 years. And on top of that, as most people in Trade Ideas, I trade as well, my own account and different markets and all that kind of stuff. So that's just a little bit about me, so you know who you're talking about. I should just give the normal disclaimer as well that I am not an investment advisor, and what we're going to show here is a software product that helps you guys find ideas, but all of those ideas are your own, all that kind of stuff, right? To satisfy the compliance side of things if they ever end up hearing this. So I'm actually going to start. I'm going to show what we're going to call Trade Ideas Pro, or the traditional Trade Ideas, for anyone who doesn't know, and then we're going to pop into this new website that we built. So what Trade Ideas is at its core, which was just kind of already teased here, is we are a scanning and alerting product, and where we differ from the other guys out there is we are live in real time scanning the markets every day when it comes to kind of what's going on. So we are the go-to for looking for things under the hood, things that are moving. Let me just grab something that's going to show a bunch of stuff moving, that's showing you everything moving as it's moving, kind of in real time. So what I'm just opening here is just a sample layout. You can kind of customize these to the hilt. That's basically just showing things that are moving from the open. So you can see all these. Oh, it's good to see Mara here. Oh, good. I'm long Mara in my long-term account. So I'm happy to see that. But basically, all of these things are the stocks that are up the most from the open. And again, this is refreshing live in real time. We have data when it comes to all the fundamental data, floats, short float information, earnings per share, all that kind of stuff, the ability to track news, see what the news is, right? So I can see right here that this TSHA is up today because they reclaimed NASDAQ compliance, which means they won't be kicked off the exchange. That's kind of cool. All of this stuff, again, this is the kind of traditional trade ideas system, and it's very, very robust, and it's very, very powerful. This scan right here is just going to be moving kind of all day long, showing me what's moving up, things that I can kind of keep an eye on for trades later in the day, or trades as I see them. Now, and then that's great. And that's what we've been doing for the last 20 years. And that's been absolutely phenomenal for us. We're a very good business on top of being a very good scanner, in which we are kind of completely self-funded. So that has been fantastic. But as always, I'm seeing a no sound. I think there is sound, right? Just want to confirm. Yeah, okay. So there's sound. Might just need to unmute. But yeah, so this is kind of what we do at our core. Now, there's obviously great things about the downloaded product, but there always was some drawdowns. And one of it is the complexity, which is good for a certain set of users, but may not be good for other set of users who aren't as technically savvy or as interested in really diving in. So I'm just going to scroll for a second. And these are all of the filters in which you can customize to build your own scans, right? And it is a very robust list of I'm still scrolling, right? These are all of the things that you could do to kind of build your own scan and tweak your own scanner and try to figure it out, which, a lot of this just comes from us being 20 years old and building this software for 20 years and adding to the software as people request more features and all of that. So for the tinkerer, someone who wants to get under the hood, this is fantastic because you can find a stock that's, breaking its 200-day moving average, and it's, in an uptrend on the daily chart, but it's pulling back on the intraday chart and all this kind of stuff. But, and if you have a very specific system and you want a scanner for it, that's fantastic. But what we found is a lot of people want to keep things faster and more simple and more visually interested in their trading. So that's one of the things that we are now drifting towards when it comes to the new model. So I just wanted to give you, this is what we have currently as a Windows downloaded product. And again, this is, if you purchase Trade Ideas, you still get all of this, right? We're not doing anything with this. We have, thousands of clients that rely on this every day to pull money from the market. But mainly what we're going to cover today is the new thing and kind of the new direction we are building. And right away, if you go to trade-ideas.com, you can start playing with this for free just by opening a free account in a delayed data mode, because as soon as we have real-time data, that's when the exchanges kind of get on our back and we got to start charging for that stuff. So when you guys fall in love, which I'm sure you will, I'm sure that there'll be some links and some codes shared about that will save you some good money, and then that will also help the webinars and the rooms that you guys hang out in as well. So when you get to the main page, and this is just our homepage now, we already have some cool information for you right off the bat, right? And these are just kind of popular stocks that are moving today. So we always keep these to the big guys, the Googles, the Teslas, the Metas, the billion-dollar market cap, lots of liquidity, lots of everything that's going on. And again, these are everything that's just moving right now. Now, a lot of it's moving just because then the Qs are breaking out of that little range and having a really good day. This one is actually just biggest gainers, but on a smaller scale. So you'll actually see TVIC. I know that was moving today. Big lots, that massive bounce after a awful looking daily chart on that one. And then this TSHA that I showed you in the smaller product. Now this one here, we already have. That is basically using a proprietary filter we have for things that are doing a lot of volume, but generally kind of under the hood stuff that people aren't talking about. So that's kind of how we've changed right off the bat, is we have to go through and show you guys initially what's going on. But inside of here, when you get to this webpage, we have this brand new product, right? So it's using all of the same information below. Sorry, I should just say, I'm just clicking on where it says Market Scope 360. You can also just click on be the first to catch the stock. Anywhere here will get you into this dashboard. So the beauty of what's going on here is there is information being displayed in a different way, more visually interesting. This is a perfect little screen just to have up on a secondary monitor or something like that to always see what's on the go. And one thing I really want to reiterate is that we are only getting started with this. We've only just begun this rollout. This thing rolled out 2 weeks ago, and we are already have a year worth of things that we're going to build and add to it. But this is part of now the Trade Ideas subscription. So if you're already a Trade Ideas subscriber, you get this just for free now as well, or as part of your subscription. If you're not a Trade Ideas subscriber, again, you can sign up for a free account and you'll have 15-minute delayed data while you kind of poke around. And so this is where I'm going to go through. I'm going to show you guys how to use this, how to play about with everything when it comes to what we have going here. So right off the bat, we call this our Market Scope 360. And the idea behind this is we just want to be able to punch you right in the face without you guys having to get into all of that customization and stuff that I showed you before, and show you what's moving in real time. So all of this is pulling from the 20 years of experience we have at Trade Ideas, and just showing what's going on. So the top bar here, this is going to be drastic kind of up movers on the day. So we have Wolf, we have GREE, DNA seems to be moving. I think DNA is a psychedelic stock. All of these things, these are guys moving up. Pinduoduo had earnings or something like that. I know it had an amazing day. And then on the bottom here, this is your biggest down movers. And this is constantly scrolling. And every now and then, if you pay attention, you'll see that some things switch, because we're always keeping it updated second by second, showing the kind of best information out there. It's kind of funny to see TSLQ, which is the short version of Tesla, is on the low one. I've also saw some of the inverse ETFs, just showing how crazy strong. Yeah, SOXX is on the biggest down mover. So just showing that the market is moving a lot. And again, this is going all day long. You don't have to customize this in any way, shape, or form. It's just showing you. Next, we have just a heat map here. And this is right now, it's selected from change from the close. So it's showing you the biggest change from the close. I'm going to just draw your attention to this because there you go. You probably just saw it. It switches in real time every, say, 10, 15 seconds. It's going to move. So if you see something starting to move up the list, you kind of know what's going on. You can just click through these and get your chart up here. You can change your time frame of the chart. Again, indicators and things like that are planned for the future, but a lot of our goal is to keep this as your data discovery, real quick, real simple type of platform. Now, I just want to explain the chart a little bit because this is something that we've just added. This is also in the download version. But we just call this picture-in-picture charts. And I don't know if anyone's old enough like me to remember when picture-in-picture TVs were a huge thing. You had your main show in the big channel, and then usually your dad was watching sports in the little window behind. That's basically what we're doing here. So right now, this is a daily chart of whatever I'm looking at, and then this is a 15-minute chart. And with this little button up here in the corner, I can actually just switch those. So if I want to take a look at the daily chart, I got my little drawing things in the way. I can just click on this and it will actually switch these two charts right here. So now this is a daily chart and this is a 15-minute chart. The idea is to be able to save screen real estate, keep everything nice, visually interesting and clean, but still have multiple data types. So right? If I see, for example, so I can just look at this and I know that this is in a downtrend and it's breaking out today. So it's pulling back to this little zone right here. And, just that the CMT of me always comes out and looks at that kind of support and resistance zone that we've pulled down to it. Now we're bouncing off and allows you to make really quick decisions. But again, you can customize all this, and I'll show you that in a second, for what your default time zones are here as well. So again, love to see Mara here, because I've been buying Mara as it's been pulling back a little bit. So it looks like after this, I've probably have to look to take some profits. the settings we have for this heat map right now is change from the close. We have change from the open, which is something I like, and you'll see everything kind of switches around here, because change from the close is obviously going to include everything that's gapping today. Change from the open is going to show you just stuff that opened and then ran, which as part of my, I don't day trade much, I'm more of a swing trader, but part of my day trading strategy when I do is I'm always just looking, I always do a lot of my day trading in the afternoon. I look for the stuff that's moved really significantly in the morning from its opening price and see if I can grab a little bit of continuation as it goes. So a lot of the stuff you can see, and again, you can see this moving in real time. We also have change in the last 30 minutes and change in the last hour. So this is a good one just to keep in mind to see things moving. Maybe VSF is going to be on here again, going crazy, but who knows here. Let me actually switch. I'm going to switch this to, just apologies. I am on, this is on a virtual machine, because as a Mac guy, you better believe I was very excited when we launched this, because I have a virtual machine for Windows because I'm a huge Mac snob and I just want to use Mac stuff. So let's actually just go. For me, it's going to be much faster on the Mac here. Yeah, that's way better instead of running it through a VM. Yeah, so this is really, really cool that you can just kind of say, okay, let me see what's going on here in, let's make this a 15-minute chart. What's going on here intraday as things are moving, again, all the time. I basically, I have purchased a monitor for this window, and I just leave it up in the corner of the screen all the time when I'm doing other stuff. Scroll down a little bit, you get a couple things. So this is a stock race, and I'll explain what this is, which is, you may have seen some of these charts before as well in the different forms, right? For example, sometimes you'll see these cool like data graphs on social media or something about, a country's GDP over time and which one's beating the other one and all that kind of stuff. So what this is doing is all live in real time. It's basically saying, I want to know what the biggest gainers from the open are right now. What is moving from its opening price right now? And you see these things are kind of changing orders, because right now GROV for this time frame, which is lunch, so it may not look the best, is moving quite a bit from its opening print. You can see the move that's going up here as well, and it's updating this again live in real time as things move. So what I'm always looking for when I have this in mind is things that are coming up from the bottom of the races, right? So I told you I was long Mara, so I'd love to see Mara come up out here, because it's just showing me that this thing is moving incredibly well from this print. So all day long, this thing is just showing you. Now, I'm not going to wait 10 minutes to get to the end of this, but what will happen is if you get, let's actually just do this. So this is going to go through yesterday, but it's going to go through way quicker, I think. What will happen is one of these reaches an end, it will actually put a box right here in the goal line. And what happens is it will then start to just build you a watch list, as long as you have this screen open, of this is what has been moving all day long, just showing you that, these are the different names. So it's building a watch list of the strongest stocks in the market for you as the days go on, which I think is phenomenal. We know as day traders that our best chance of doing well as day traders are sticking to whatever is in play at the moment, right? We're trying to say, okay, I want to make sure that I'm ignoring anything that's not moving, because that's just taking up mental capital, but it's also just taking up physical capital. And I want to look at what's moving and try to get involved in that. So again, this is displaying yesterday. You can see Genius Brands was moving up, and then this VSF craziness was going wild again yesterday. So over to the right here, we also have, so I see a question. I love the questions. I'll get to them. Can you use these for large cap stocks? Absolutely. And I'll show you that in a second. So the advanced decliners right here, this is basically showing, most times when you see advanced decliner lines and AD lines, most of the time what you end up getting is they'll take like the S&P 500 and they'll say, right, of the I think 503 stocks in the S&P 500. Maybe 100 are up and this much is down and all of that kind of thing. What we're doing here is we're doing the entire market. That's a massive benefit we have at Trade Ideas, in which we do the entire market of stocks. So every stock that exists is on this histogram. Now, unsurprisingly, today there's a way more green than there is red. With the market moving up, it makes sense. Sometimes you can actually detect, by keeping an eye on this, you can detect changes that are happening under the hood and changes that are happening that I have actually taken some trades off of this when things aren't working the way I would expect. So, for example, the market's up on the day, but there's a little bit more decliners than advancers in the market. That makes me think that what the SPY is up because some of just the big cap names are carrying it up. And then, I've waited for my chance and taken shorts off of that and had the market kind of fall back in line a little bit with what's going on. So this now finished. So again, VSFW won. So it's going to be on this watch list. And then again, this will just continuously fill with whatever the winner's going on. So again, it's building a watch list for you all day in real time. So that is, again, and this is, I'm only getting started. I'm going to go through everything, but I'm going to go relatively quick so I don't keep you guys for too long and have time for questions. But that's our main screen. Right. This is just kind of all built for you. We're planning on building tons of things out as it happens. So the next thing that I've asked for that we're going to build in here, as opposed to the market scope, we're going to build a sector scope where it's going to take all this and it's going to show you based off what sector is moving. So, for example, I bought some FXI China calls yesterday. So I'd want to see how China is working in relative to the rest of the sectors, because this is great for the people who really want the stuff that's moving a bunch, boomers and stuff like me. I want to see, right, if my gold is doing well or something like that. So this will be expanded out as time goes on. Now, we also have the search box up here, and this is where you can find a lot of stuff. We'll cover all this in a second, but of course you can just look up individual names. So let's do actually Mara instead, because I talked about how it's long Mara, and I can kind of be interested in see how it's going. So it's going well.
We need toilet paper, I believe.
There we go. So when I typed in Mara and I hit enter, you get a single stock window, a chart, and then this is the same race that I talked about, but it's actually all of the competitors for Mara. So this is very important for people like me who want to play sympathy plays. So maybe, for example, you have a synopsis in, well, Bitcoin right now, right? So I bought Mara when it was down here because it came back down to this $10 area and Bitcoin was hanging out at support. So I just wanted some crypto exposure. I think with the massive short float we show in Mara of 28%, and you can see it right here in the data window, that I'll get more juice on Mara than I will on Bitcoin. So that was my theory. But when I come to this page and I start researching Mara, maybe there's things that are doing better. So these are all going to be competitors to Mara. We all know Riot, similar looking chart. So, I can then click through these and make sure I'm doing research on different companies that are going to be competitors to what I'm looking at. Now, just wanted to explain that one just because we were already talking about races. So the chart, you guys understand charts already. Again, you can change your time frame, control, and the zoom wheel will zoom you in and out depending on on how close you want to go. And then we have our data window. So this is what I talked about we have in the downloaded version. It's got a couple things. One is we put a whole bunch of information we think is relevant. In the most recent earnings date, whether it's coming up, this will actually highlight in yellow and red if earnings is getting close. August 6th, you can see the yellow line here on the chart is showing the earnings date. That's telling you what that is. We have float. We have our short float percentage, which we actually aggregate from a couple data to get as close as we can. We all know short float can be a little bit squirrely. We have shares outstanding. Change since January 1, options volume today. So there's 200% more volume in the option space going on in Mara than anything else. Revenue, market cap, all of this stuff. Just a quick snapshot, just mainly saying, is it a profitable company? Do they have any money if you're planning on holding for a long time? And for people who are more traders, we'll probably be more interested in what's the float, what's the market cap, what's the short float, and then what is the volume, right? So we have volume, and then below this, we have relative volume. Relative volume, for people who don't know, is just a measure of volume up into a certain point. So it's 12:30 Eastern right now. So basically what relative volume of 3 is saying is, as of right now, we are doing 3 times normal volume for what we would normally do at 12:30 in Mara at this time. Problem, a lot of people will use volume as saying, is there more or less volume? But you really have to nail down time, because if the market just opened, of course, there's going to be less volume than normal. So that's what we do to kind of normalize that experience. So 3 relative volume means that we're probably going to do roughly around 3 times normal volume today on Mara. A couple other things, right? Profile. If you don't know what Mara is, you can click on the profile. It takes you to the website if you want to dive deep, but it also just shows that what this does, right? Mara is a crypto miner. Sometimes you bring up a stock because it looks really good and you have no idea what they do. So you can take a look and you can click in through here. Then we also have our news filter. And what we can do is go through and we scrub Google and all of most of the internet we can. So here's a Benzinga article. If I click on that, just opens the news in a new tab. I can read what the headline is for all of these different names. For those, I'm a CFA, so if I read too much of the news, I think they kick me out. But for those who are interested in the news, we have access to that as well. So again, that's just how you research single stocks. Now, let me actually go. I'm going to make this a little bigger for everyone to see. There we go. So we have these market dashboards on the side. So the Market Scope 360 is the big one I already showed you. Stock info is where you can do all of your research that you can also get through just by typing this in here. Now we have the stock race. So if that stock race with the building of the watch list was something that really, really interests you, this is going to be kind of the dashboard for you, where you can click on these, and basically we've included the chart and the single stock window in here. So if you want to do your research on top of what you saw on the market scope page, you can do that as well. But yeah, we have stock race central. So for the gentleman who was wondering for large cap stocks, we absolutely can. So we have, again, if anyone, I'd love to hear from someone who's used trade ideas for a long period of time and knows how complicated we had to make it as robust as it is compared to what this is. So what you do is you see all of the races that we have access to on the top. We are going to add to this constantly as time goes on, and we get different people requesting what we're interested. I want this, I want this, I want this. We're very, as a smaller company, we love feedback from people who are using our software, and we have the ability just to drag and drop. So, for the large caps, we can drag the S&P 500 moving up, and we just drop it into this race. And now this race is converted into S&P 500 stocks, and then I can drag over here, and then I can drop, and now this is the S&P 500 stocks that are moving lower. So now I have 2 races that are entirely looking at those big S&P 500 names. You can see Pool, which has these guys. Pool is amazing to me. They dig holes for a living, and it's like one of the best performing stocks of all time. But yeah, you can see all of these go. Now you can either research these on another platform if you want. Very soon, not right now, but very soon you'll be able to open these up in another tab. The issue we have now is we basically, because we buy data from the exchange, we have to figure out how to keep it so that data isn't getting duplicated. But we're figuring that out. So basically, if you're within a single browser, eventually you'll be able to have as many tabs open. So you could have the market scope open and this open and all of the different windows open in their own different little window. Again, we just need to figure out, we got to go make friends with the exchanges and have them let us do that. But so if I just click on one of these right now, but it will just take me again to this research screen, right? So AT&T was moving up a most. I actually had an upgrade today. And then again, I can zoom in. I can see these are all they'll be all telecom related stocks. So AT&T is up 2%, but this TDS, man, that's a different look right there. massive push on this name. So we can go through that and then just go back to the stock race central again. So drag and drop, super simple. We're expanding these out. I see the question about the NASDAQ. Again, the top 10 holdings, probably not. Eventually, you're talking about building your own watch list. Eventually, we're going to do that, where we're going to take this. Our plan is slowly over time to convert so that everything that you can do from the downloaded version, you can do in this version as well. We just have to do that kind of slowly because we want to make sure we don't, again, build this big complicated beast. But so eventually what we're going to do is we're going to build what we're going to do is we're going to build what we call my liked. So what you can do in the downloaded version is we have a little heart button on our chart. Anytime you click on that, it adds it to a personalized watch list for you. And eventually we're going to build very soon, actually, a market dashboard that's going to be your liked symbols, where basically anything that you add to that heart button while you're going through the app will then get applied to these races, right? So yes, I guess is the long answer. But yeah, so then this is races from the stocks that are gapped up the most and gapped down the most today. Right, post market obviously won't do anything right now, but in the post market, if you drag this in, it will show you right what's moving up and down in the post market. Next, we have the top list. So this is more of where everything else is kind of moving and you have to watch in real time. This is more of a static list in which you can just take a look at. So for example, let's go into the sectors right here. And again, just drag, drop. That's the idea. Super easy. Just drag and drop right down, right? So I got a question. Is this web only or is there desktop version? So we have, and I think you may have joined us a little bit. We have a desktop version that's super robust and you can customize very much. This is a web version that's a little bit simpler. But of course you can run this on any desktop based thing as well, right? In fact, whether you're using Windows or whether you're using Mac, and maybe I can show you guys that if you're interested, there's a way to make an app-ified version of any website. And a lot of people inside Trade Ideas have been doing that, where for me, on my dock, on my MacBook, I have a button I click and it opens a separate window that has this on it. But yeah, so here in the top list, we basically have these a little bit more static screens. Again, update every 30 seconds like everything else, but they allow you to kind of sort data in more of a, call it like an Excel-like format. So this is my favorite because it's basically just a bunch of ETFs. And for me, I do a top-down approach where I want to know what sectors I'm interested in and then hunt for stocks within those sectors. So I can just click here and it sorts the data by position in range. So if I sort this position in 5-day range, it's going to basically look at the last 5 days of the security and say, okay, what's in the upper end of that range? So we have TAN, which is our solar ETF. You see how if I click on this, how quickly these charts update. So TAN actually is reversing. And this is kind of interesting. I've been talking about this one for a bit. I always like to stop and talk shop for a second because I know we're all traders. Look at the last 2 wicks down here that happened, and now it looks like we might be bouncing off that area. So solars is interesting to me, but yeah, it's just showing you what's doing the best. And if I go down here, what's doing the worst? No shock to anyone, I don't think, but gas is not doing well over the last few days. And then again, same as you can drag them through here. So if I wanted the S&P 500, I can drag that in here. And then maybe I wanted to sort the S&P 500. So I see the stuff that's just in the top end of its range. We have NWS. Oh, that's a nice looking chart on that one. Nice little flag could be breaking out there. We have GAP is moving as well. UHS and URA. But I'm actually going to, excuse me one second. I'm going to write down NWS. I love that pattern, that little breakout. Sorry. Again, I'm a trader. I have to keep these in mind. And then you can sort things by and I'm just clicking on the header tab to sort it, right? So in the S&P 500, the stock doing the most relative volume right now is Bed Bath & Beyond, which I don't think shocks anyone. There was some sort of earnings or news event going on that one today. So again, just drag and then drop. Again, the post market will show what's going on in the post market. Here's the gap up today. So the stock that gapped up the most was TPL on a dollar basis. Let's do a percentage basis. So yeah, TVIC, this is the one that gapped up the most, and now it looks like it's just selling off the gap. Again, what I want to highlight is just the simplicity of this, the way you do this. You're no longer in and customizing all that stuff. Again, not anyone who wants to do that, we have the downloaded version, and that's great for them. But for people, even like myself, as a CMT, I've realized that really getting super nitpicky on a strategy doesn't help me much. Just show me a bunch of names that are moving, and I'll evaluate them based off the technical pattern. So just like top lists were a static window that you could then sort by data, alert windows are something that alert when a certain event occurs. So what this event, whereas in the Market Scope 360, we talked about that is the stuff that's up or down the most. In this dashboard, it's actually showing me stocks that are making new highs and new lows. And it's displaying it in a couple ways, right? So there's been 53 or 54 new highs since I've opened the screen and only 6 new lows, right? That, I don't, again, the market's really, really strong today. So that kind of makes sense. And all of these things are just going to scroll. You see, if I hover over it, it stops, gives me enough time to click it. But this is showing me stuff. So Bank of Nova Scotia just made a new high. If I scroll down, you can see the chart update. Bank of Nova Scotia is doing phenomenal today. So this is, again, if you're just looking for stuff making new highs, new lows, we filter these a little bit so that they're at least significant new highs and new lows, and that they're doing a lot of volume. So we cut out a lot of the junk from them as well. Now, this bar in the middle is just comparing new highs versus new lows. So this is another one to watch really, really closely, because when I start to see this bar shift one way or the other, I know that there's something going on in the market right now, right? We're just banging out new highs, and then you can see the new lows. There's almost nothing coming through. Markets pushing to new highs, that makes perfect sense. But if all of a sudden I stopped seeing all these new highs and I just started to see new low after new low after new low, then again, even if I'm a futures trader or an index trader, that's something that I would kind of look to trade, where I could go through and say, hey, this is something's changing right now. Or, I won't get into my whole relative strength and weakness pop, but anything that is not doing well today, that's the stuff that I'd want to maybe look for shorts, right? So HESM, right? This one might be one that I look at buying puts or shorting this name, because everything else is loving life today and this one isn't, right? So as you see this, again, this is another good one to leave up because it gives you a really nice and clean visual representation. So last but not least, I'll just show you how to poke around the settings. Again, you guys can try this for free. You just go and you set up an account completely for free and get started. But there definitely will be some cool ways to convert when it happens. So a couple things right off the bat, all of our settings are in here, right? The point that we're trying to hammer home is simplicity. All of the points we have in here. So you have colored, this will just change the colors here. Dark theme, if you're a dark person, I'll show you, this changes the entire app. Whether you want the bar to be kind of big or small, that single stock window that has the news and everything, you can actually separate those out so they aren't tabs. And then your data mode. Now, chart settings. So if you click day trading, how I showed you the two charts, one will be a 5-minute chart. The other one will be a daily chart. If you're day trading, if you're swing trading, it will be a big daily chart, a small weekly chart, and investing will be a big weekly chart and a small monthly chart. And then what will happen is this will follow you around the app now. Notifications, you can get alerted if you're when a stock wins a race, if you're on a race screen, and it uses your built-in browser notifications. So if you have Slack or Discord or whatever open on a browser, how it pops up in the top right if you're a Mac user, the bottom right if you're a Windows user, it'll take all of that for you. So now that I've changed this a bit, if I go back, you can see a nice dark theme. And this is really cool because, again, the point of this is that this is mobile as well. This works just the same on your phone or your iPad or your smart fridge or whatever it is, whether you're a Mac or a PC or a Linux guy, it doesn't matter. The point is, if you have a web browser, you have access to that, and that's what we're going for. It's everywhere. It's simple, and it gives you robust data in a really cool way. So that is our new web version. So I am available for however long you guys want to ask questions. If there's anything you want me to go over, if you want to know what we're adding in the future, all that kind of stuff. But don't want to take up too much of your time. Just really, really excited. And we want to start showing the world this thing that we released like just last week. So I'm glad this got to be one of the first places that we talked about this with such a, an awesome relationship we've got with you guys.
Love it, man. Michael, this is awesome stuff. What do you think, guys? Any questions you guys got? I know Michael really went into on depth with things here. Was there any outstanding ones that you had to get to, Michael, that on here? I don't know if there was one about the watch. Was it Kevin's question?
No, I think so. Yeah, with the watch list, what we're planning on doing, because what this is missing right now, in my opinion, and again, we love feedback because we are building this. Like after I'm done this, I'm going to another meeting where we're going to talk about what we're adding to this next, right? So if you guys have feedback, this is a good time for it. But what I think this is missing, and I think people will agree with me, is that there's nowhere for me to look at my stocks, right? So like either my portfolio or as a swing trader myself, what I do is when the markets close, I build a list of names. And then when the markets open, I only look at that list of names, right? I am not a good trader when it comes to evaluating and making decisions on the fly. And I know that about myself. So I want to set everything up. And then I just watch those names that I've already researched and I know the levels and everything and let them go. So that is going to be one of the next editions in which for the person that was asking, you'll be able to kind of build. These are your stocks that you're, again, either own or that you're interested in, and you'll be able to plug them into something like this where scrolling with new highs and lows will kind of just be your list, and this heat map will just be your list, and the races will just be your list, and the advanced decliner will just be like, so it's kind of just, this is your stuff. So for me, that's really exciting. Again, especially as someone who is mobile, right? I do a lot of my stuff on the I do a lot of my stuff on the fly. I do a lot of my stuff mobily. So I want to make sure that I'm always keeping up with what's going on, even if I'm, away from my desk at the gym or doing whatever. So, yeah, so that may be it for questions. Again, we appreciate it. My name's, again, Michael Noss. You can, if you want to send something privately with suggestions or something, you can always hit me up on Twitter, which is just Michael Noss, CMT. You can send me an invite, and yeah, we're pumped to get your guys's advice and suggestions and all of that kind of stuff. But sign up for a free account, plug away on it, and then I think there's probably going to be a cool discount code talked about or links to show you guys as well.
We have a discount code on our site too. We'll talk to also Marissa too, just to make sure everything's up to date. But then we'll take your video here and put it on our YouTube and our review. Cool.
That sounds great. Well, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. Thank you for all the questions and feedback. And I'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael.
You have a good one.